Alright, little guys. I just streamed Doom's second episode, The Shores of Hell, and heck yeah, we get some enemy diversity with the Hell Knights being integrated into the combat encounter roster, and cacodemons, who are just the cutest little hellspawn, and Lost Souls making their debut in this episode. Along with that, my fave classic Doom designer Sandy Peterson had a hand in the creation of all of the maps for this episode. This is where the game gets good. Deimos Anomaly is our entry point, mirroring the name of the final level of Knee Deep in the Dead, and immediately upon loading it up, we're confronted with an upside-down cross etched into some mysterious glowing red wall, a symbol for our step into hell, and you'll soon see that Deimos sure looks like it. This level is relatively simple, and I believe that similarly to Phobos Anomaly, the level does not represent anywhere meant to be used by people, but is instead entirely intended for harnessing hell energy. What makes this level exciting though is that it is where you'll first encounter Lost Souls and cacodemons. These two enemies do so much to make the combat encounters in Classic Doom much more interesting and varied, and reduces the amount of hit scanning enemies compared to the first episode. However, with less zombie men and less shotgun guys comes less ammo. But I would actually argue that the player benefits from lower ammo counts here because you'll have to learn which melee options are best for each demon type. We already know that pinkies suffer from the chainsaw when faced one-on-one, but when facing bigger crowds of enemies, it's better to grab a berserk and use your fist because that'll even take out pinkies in as little as 2 hits, and allows you to keep moving around the map to avoid fire from imps or zombies. But now we have to worry about barons, cacodemons, and lost souls. Now you can take out barons, cacodemons, and lost souls with a berserk, but I wouldn't recommend it. It's very scary trying to time your attacks right so as not to run straight into a caco or baron right as they attack you. But if you run out of ammo against a baron and you can't just run around it, your fists are your only hope because the baron will not get consistently stunned by the chainsaw. However, cacos and lost souls will be consistently stunned, and lost souls that charge you will actually hit your chainsaw before they reach you, so the chainsaw will actually work as a parry against them. This, combined with the scarcity of ammo pickups, seamlessly creates a dynamic environment where the player is constantly swapping between their melee options in order to preserve ammo for more difficult encounters. And barons. You'll be taking out imps and pinkies with your bare hands, then swapping to your chain gun to take out a group of hit scanners while dodging caco fire before swapping to your chainsaw to take the caco and lost souls out, and finally using whatever else you got to fuck up the barons before they fuck you. The Shores of Hell just gets so good, and as soon as you understand what weapon each scenario calls for, you'll realize that this is what made the Doomslayer, not some dumb god-making machiney thingy. Crazy to me that people cite Knee Deep in the Dead as being the greatest Doom 1 episode, when the Shores of Hell is literally just one dimensional hop away. Now that that's out of the way, the rest of the episode has us traversing the Deimos space, and some areas are definitely infested by hell, but to me it seems like some places were made hellish by people, such as how the third mission, Refinery, seems to have holding cells for the demons, like where the caco is trapped within this cage, or this room that's living and moving, and I don't know if it feels or not, but maybe these cells were made to study the demons, maybe these cells were made to refine something from them. The next level doesn't seem too warped by hell, but it has an entire room blanketed in that glowy red barrier and a ton of toxic waste. Whatever is being tested here is incredibly powerful and incredibly destructive to the research facility. After that, Command Center seems to be entirely infested by hell. I cannot make out anything from this level, but I think that's fitting considering it houses the entrance to the secret level, which seems to be where barons and cacos like to hang out. Probably some sort of club or something where the higher ranking demons get to chill after a long day of infighting the weaker demons and sip on some apple blood. Naturally, after Command Center, the game starts dropping buttloads of ammunition onto the player, and that just feels so good to start blowing demons apart with the plasma rifle and rocket launcher after going for a place titled Command Center. However, I feel that this level, Halls of the Damned, fits that title a little better, and I actually headcanon that these areas are actually reversed in terms of function. But maybe that doesn't mean anything. I'm sure whoever was commanding the space was damned to hell anyway, so maybe those titles really are just interchangeable. Next up is spawning vents, and this level gets me just as excited as Refinery. Of course, you can find the spawning vats here, where I presume researchers have summoned demons in order to capture and study them. But not only that, but there are these large tube things I believe are storing subdued demons, and a large warehouse that could be intaking or even exporting research materials. I'll get back to this later during my review of Inferno, but I believe this is not just where demons are summoned, but also where demons are augmented with human tech in order to make them more powerful or destructive. This would explain the need for a large storage area, the large blue energy strips, and the tubes that I believe store subdued demons. Plus, this level starts you off with two pinkies immediately gunning for you, and has this really cool outside area where it's somehow dark even though the skybox is bright. I know it can be explained as poor visual design, but this is a hell invasion we're talking about. I think having some Lovecraftian stuff is 100% intentional. You're not supposed to know what you're looking at. This is Sandy Peterson we're talking about, who has stated Lovecraft's writings as inspiration for his games. And so, finally, we arrive at the Tower of Babel. A cute little detail of this episode is that you can actually see this tower being constructed on the map after each level, and ugh, I love that this episode uses the Tower of Babel. It is just too perfect to, after going through the research labs on Deimos and seeing how humans were trying to utilize the power of hell, see the iconography for people trying to elevate themselves to God's domain. Just too perfect. Honestly, it's like the demons are mocking us by erecting it. The companies in Doom are trying to use hell energy to do things otherwise impossible, but our companies are no different. We spend so much time trying to act like God and make our own little intelligence or judge other people for how they live, when that's literally written out in the Bible as outside of our powers. That's God's domain, and the demons mock us for trying to be God. Sorry I gotta get a little political, but I just found out Doom is not considered woke, and I gotta ask if people even, played the game. Anyway, the Tower of Babel houses Doom's first actual boss, the Cyber Demon. And this fight is really easy, but the boss theme, Nobody Told Me About Id, is an absolute banger. And right at this point is where I believe the Doom guy adopted the music himself, and the unsettling rhythm represents the demon's only fear: you. Unfortunately for the demons, the Deimos base floats above the pit of hell, and you have nowhere else to go. It's also worth checking out the IDKFA cover, because I feel that Andrew Holschultz's rendition represents that moment as well. That's all I have to say about the Shores of Hell. Don't worry though, if I remember correctly, I'm just as passionate about the story of Inferno. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so next time I stream, you'll get a notification to stop by. And if you really like this video, you can support me on Patreon at patreon.com/AR-Fiorildi. All patrons get access to my videos as soon as they're finished, rather than having to wait up to 4 days for it to release. Anyway, goodbye for now, but I hope you'll enjoy me tomorrow as we rappel down into Inferno.